We built jobs. So think of my first term, the greatest military anywhere in the world. And we're using it a little more than I thought. The previous administration had less than $1 trillion. Chris is doing a fantastic job. Years. We paid for the cost of that war many times. Do I get credit for it? No. Millions and millions of barrels of oil. It's going to Houston and Louisiana. You know that? You see those ships lined up? 19.2 and 12 months versus, again, we paid for that many, many times over. And we have a great relationship with Venezuela, but we just keep chugging along. People are happy in Venezuela. As I say, I get no credit for anything, and then I look around the companies, the biggest oil companies in the world going in and doing. So I guess we do get credit. Nobody ever thought possible. But less than 2 years ago, our country was dead. They're taking. I've had this said by so many leaders. You know, it's very interesting. A little bit different sometimes. They're making more money. Chris is showing some numbers. They're making more money. Venezuela less than 2 years ago than they've ever made before. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And we're making a lot. And we are the hottest in the world. And I think we're entitled. At the same time, we know that the data centers and AI are dramatically increasing the demand for electricity. It's only fair that the cost of building the new infrastructure required to meet this demand should be borne by the corporations, hundreds of themselves, not by the American consumers and the American patriots, American citizens. Years. And I think everybody agrees to it. And actually, they really don't have a choice because there's no way of producing that kind of electricity, the kind you need. I called them, and they want to do it themselves. But we're in for 4 months. They're coming up with some plans that are. I had a very sad day yesterday. Genius, just like they are. Great American. That's why earlier this year I introduced the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. But it's 18. Under this groundbreaking plan, America's largest tech companies have formally committed to fund or build thousands all energy infrastructure required to meet the demand. Thousands, placing on the grid. Korean War, thousands. So they're going to be funded. These wars all lasted for years. And we want to get it over with, and we want to do it right. But we have to do what we came to do, and that's all of those electric needs. And we're giving them the right to build their own power plant, which is nuclear weapons. From all of this success came from innovation and ambition and drive. In this country, we build the future fearlessly and confidently, so that America always will be strong, MVP. Dominant, I will tell you. And the other thing we're going to add to that, we want to be free, and we're going to continue to be free as long as we're smart. He's totally into the environment, but he's getting things done in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home, and people are getting their approvals, everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything's going to end up in squalor, and all sorts of manufacturing capability that we've never done anywhere near it. So we have to stop many times. And companies are pouring in. Toyota, communist rhetoric the other day, announced that they're moving into our country from I'm very happy Mexico. The poll came out. It said they're highly educated, closing up a lot of their operations, but doing very all of it in Mexico. They're moving to this country. They're losers. We have they went to school. We have more good education. Now they can't. In the United States, they don't know what they're doing. And at any time, is they complain about people. And we went years before but we can't. We went many years with no ideology. Even we don't want to even think about building in this country now. With a hot. So we're joined today by some of the people helping. We'll have about all of the things that I just talked about. This term is putting the Ratepayer We're going to have probably 50% of the chip market. And here with us a year ago, Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, we had no chip market. An outstanding person, none other than Intel. Told me about Chris. I didn't know Chris. And we made a purchase of 10% of energy. And Doug said, "No, there's one man that's better." Who? Chris Wright. And we made approximately $72 billion on this guy right over here. So and he said, "Do I get credit for that one? No, really incredible." I get no credit. Venezuela running a lot of more than anybody has ever run before. I think we can say, Chris. So we did that. A great job. So we appreciate great deals. I'll tell you. We keep it going too. But Intel's been fantastic. One of the hottest companies anywhere in the country. And when we met a friend of mine, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, popular guy, really smart, street smart, the stock price has gone up many times. I think it's maybe the hottest or one of the hottest. We had the governor of Nebraska, so that was an honor Jim Pillen, I love looking good. Fantastic job. We made a lot of money. We made, I guess, over $72 billion on the profit. Oh, hello, Jim. They've also agreed to invest heavily in local communities where data centers are built. How's Nebraska job training and local services? They still like Trump in Nebraska? They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. We had a very good nice 2 nights in the room. You have great governors in Arizona. We're 14 out of 14. These companies are spending tremendous amounts of that kind of money on the communities. I think we're doing those numbers everywhere. So, and it's all based on common sense. We tell the local communities that this or that, whatever you want. Other nations most important thing is where people trying to get us to slow down. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good education. A lot of money. We want to have low taxes. We want propaganda, military. What people have common sense and trying to convince everybody very successful and a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. Thank you very much. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. This is, you have the communities that really want the data center. Drew, thank you. And frankly, those are the smart communities because it means you're doing a tremendous number of jobs. Southern Company CEO, Chris Womack. Very little actual disruption. There he is. And the ones that don't want it, you know, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country because they're begging for them. Right? To be there, and some of them are great communities. Meta President Dina Powell, forward-looking been my friend. She was with me for 4 years in the White House since I introduced. And I called up this plan just a few months ago. More than 220 utilities, tech companies, state governments, and Columbia County Commission Chairman Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Electricity rates for 80% of the power distributed in America. And Sheldon Jones of Louisiana's Richland Parish School District. Kept rates down, way down. You know, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of America. I heard you're doing fantastically well. And again, Lee Zeldin, who's and as you know, last week it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down more than it's been in over 6 years. So I want to just and other things are happening that are so fantastic. And when these all these buildings, plants, factories that we're talking about start opening various and all I know is I'd like to be the next president. The Iran war, because I'm going to make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening, and they're going to anybody be saying what a genius they are. That happened with Biden. Knocked out their Navy, their Air Force, medicine prices, all of their radar, most of their 2 or 3 years capability, and I got these tremendous cuts. And then they sat there down. They didn't even know where they came from. Missiles are down 91%. But I got them, and this is going to be a much bigger example. I had a newspaper say they're in stronger position today than they were 4 months ago. No, sooner, but 2 years. That's not right. And somebody's going to look very, very smart, and I hope you remember me because they're in stronger position today. They have no military. They have no Navy. For example, they had 159 ships. Everyone's Georgia Power has frozen base rates for airplanes. Everyone is gone. Until 2029. They have no radar. Anybody here? They have no anti-aircraft. They have no nothing. Other than they're mean. Yeah, and they're smart. A certain governor is and they still have some capability. But 4 months ago. That's a great job. I heard about it. Congratulations to both. I want to give you the non-fake news. Georgia, the revenue do that, and we're going to then have the data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you meet a man who's just about the best pitcher in baseball and just about the best hitter in baseball. Nobody's ever seen just about the best fielder in the outfield. All my life, the biggest building in the whole world was the needless to say, I guess he had a game you could fit 25 almost perfect game in these buildings. And he had 2 or 3 home runs in that. And if you happen to be a community, and there's very little disruption. Never seen that. Only Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was a great hitter. And frankly, but even the Babes certain types of one hitter, incredible. And hit 3 to look at to see. I would imagine we could do something like this. But the greatest they also flow off tremendous amounts of money to him and community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all of them. All they like to come over to the White House. We're going to have a little thing in a few minutes. But I want to just thank everybody. Great job. That's a great job. We're really talking about the Ratepayer Protection stuff, a little heat. Important because we don't want to die. You have to convince your community. Usually those are the people that actually want the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. And they're like you not to build because you know what? If it doesn't go to you and if it doesn't go to Georgia as an example, it's going to go someplace else. And those people are very happy to get them. We're giving to all of them. But American Electric Power now amount of money projects that their customers will enjoy as much as $16 billion. Everybody else wants it. In cost offsets for consumers thanks to their data center contracts. $16 community $1 billion become rich. Think of that. That's cost offsets. Very little disruption. In Iowa, and again, Alliant Energy, take all that money, data somebody else is going to take it. You might as well do it yourself. So it's an honor to be with you, and maybe I'll let Chris and Lee and the group and Jeff and data center deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers for at least 5 years. So your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana, public school teachers in so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in Alaska. That's big stuff, Mr. Governor. Right? You didn't have any doubt about it. There's a governor doing a great job. Some really great governors in this room. With the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, we're creating a fair deal for everybody. This is how we'll grow our economy, lower the cost of living, protect American consumers, and lead the world in AI and high-tech all at the same time. We want to lead the world. And it is said that if you come in second, you're going to be second overall. Because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been any, like in Georgia, there's no other thing you can do to create numbers like you've created, Brian.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here.
There's no other thing. You can do 100 different deals. It is nothing
Look,
close
Americans
to what you've been able to do.
united
and why?
in their
They put a big,
desire
gorgeous
to
new plant
supercharge our economy, to increase our national security
positive.
by keeping our lead in artificial intelligence over China. These are critical for our economy.
And
they're critical for our national security.
They call them socialists.
Americans are also united in their frustration over the ruinous nearly 30% price rise in electricity across the country during the Biden administration, and a needless rises in our electricity prices.
And China,
the Trump administration Ratepayer Protection Pledge addresses
a lot of respect for President
these issues
Xi,
and allows Americans to have it all.
Represent the United
this
States
allows
of
America to maintain our lead in artificial intelligence by driving rapid investment in our country,
they want
rapid investment in new power infrastructure,
because they'd like to be leading the race. But we're leading the race.
Developers of data centers
very foolish and frankly very stupid,
the rises of electricity prices where these investments have been made.
A lot of people didn't expect that was possible.
Sadly, we see this issue being politicized now. We see Democrats in New York saying we're going to ban the development of data centers, and they're doing this
very substantially
because the green energy mandates they pushed at the national level under Biden and at the state level. That's what drives up electricity prices.
Regulating oil, natural gas,
something else for that. Of course, they're going to double down on stupid and end out with even greater increases in electricity. The state of Maine is one of the states with zero data centers. Zero has very high electricity prices.
I call them the Democrats
avoided the development of new power infrastructure. Those are the states with the fastest rises in prices. The governors on this stage, and you're going to hear briefly from all of them, all of the governors on this stage have electricity prices in their states meaningfully below the national average. And they've done it by allowing investment and progress in their states. They've allowed data centers to be built,
and we've done a hell of a job in getting them out. Murderers, 11,000,
protected their ratepayers and delivered jobs and opportunity and relief from taxes. That's a clear pathway forward. Now we'll turn it over to Governor Jeff Landry from Louisiana.
Democrats in Congress want less energy, not more, and if given the chance, they'd send your prices soaring and inflation skyrocketing, which is exactly what would happen if you had somebody else sitting in the position that I am right now.
Under their leadership,
and just like we did with the Green New scam
in Louisiana,
where we were scammed.
People
the whole
like
country,
Eric
I wasn't
and
scammed.
Madeline
I got it
Carter,
right
who are here today,
I got it from
and because of
the first minute when I heard this
that y'all
crap.
have laid out that we've accepted.
They were saying
wind
was so wonderful, except you couldn't watch your television. They wanted to watch the debate.
Jones, the superintendent
Donald Trump against Joe Biden. Nobody could watch it because the wind wasn't blowing.
His teachers.
They only would like to watch the debate tonight. I'm sorry, the wind isn't blowing.
In Louisiana,
that's one of the great scams of all time. But
in Louisiana,
if you dislike another country, let them keep building windmills. They are going down. People are finally figuring it out.
Imagine this. Imagine.
But we're not going to let it happen to this country. We're going to be.
For 24
we're going to use the kind of things that work.
Every data center.
And they're working better than anybody ever thought possible. So experts have
press conference
observed that the amount of energy
live streamed.
A society produces
no longer
is the single greatest indicator of its advancement as a civilization, its success as a country.
Healthcare would come to a grinding halt.
When you think the amount of
Americans
produced,
would quickly realize that the digital tools they depend on every day
yet instead of offering a positive version and vision for carrying American civilization to new heights, a radical left only wants to limit our energy consumption and reign in our American dreams. We have the American dream.
America once led the space race.
We came along.
Now face a new race.
We had a great.
This one, though, is going to be defined by technology and artificial intelligence. And who wins?
And this economy will blow it away.
Will absolutely
We're doing very well.
The levers of global
the Islamic
power.
Republic.
But just as the space race demanded courage and vision, so does this one.
They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same.
American families.
They're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have
that technology
a nuclear weapon. If we did all this that I'm talking about your data centers,
rather than shifting them
that important
to you,
when they start blowing away communities
and the president's
one by
instructions
one,
are simple.
we cannot let
Companies
them
must build,
ever even think about having
the generation
weapon,
we need,
and that's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon.
And fully fund the grid upgrades to support the operation. In Louisiana, we didn't just follow the president's model.
By the way, this should have been done by other. They've been saying 47 years now for about 3 years.
Should be a template.
They should have been done for 50 years by other American presidents or other countries.
Our ratepayers
didn't have to be us.
Fund all new generation transmission upgrades.
But I will, and nobody else has the capability to do it. We built, in my first term, the greatest military anywhere in the world.
We recognized it.
And we're using it a little more than I thought, but that's all right. We had Venezuela, that Chris is doing a fantastic job, and we paid for the cost of that war many times.
That strengthens our grid reliability and reduces
millions and millions of barrels of oil, and it's going to Houston and Louisiana. You know that?
Resiliency is extremely important. But more importantly, there's a real local impact.
Many times over, and we have a great relationship with
as I said
Venezuela,
earlier, teachers went
and the people are happy in Venezuela right now. They can't believe what's happened. We have the biggest companies, the biggest oil companies in the world going in and doing business like nobody ever thought possible. And we're taking some. We should.
No. That's how much the taxes have grown.
They're taking some, and it's very interesting that
the average wage has grown nearly 30%.
They're making more money. Chris was showing me some numbers. They're making more money, Venezuela now,
think about what that would mean
than they've ever made before.
Families. That's how you address affordability. That's how Louisiana families are winning, and that's what's happening when innovation meets opportunities.
It was a one-day war.
In Louisiana, we've also streamlined our permitting process.
Tied up there forever.
So that
and here,
projects
we were
like
in
this
Vietnam for
can
20
be permitted
years.
in 8
lost
months.
Thousands
that
and
matches
hundreds of thousands
the president's
of lives,
speed to power vision
of lives.
America's energy
Afghanistan
sector.
Years.
I can tell
all
you
these wars that you heard about
with us
years and years.
Is a national standard.
We were.
And the president's agenda drives
we're in for 4 months
to expand domestic energy production.
I had a very sad day yesterday. I went to Doha.
AI deployment.
Great American patriots killed. That's 18 in 2 wars. One is too many. But it's 18.
I would say this. I think the president believes this as well.
Vietnam, we lost.
This is America's
200,000. We lost.
This is a moment where we get to protect our people, empower our communities.
We lost thousands in every war. The Korean War,
economic opportunities.
These wars all lasted for years.
It's a moment to prove that when innovation meets responsibility,
we want to do it right.
America doesn't.
We have to do what we came to do, unless we can't let these people.
That's what the groups out there want us to do.
Violent people. We can't let them have what they want, which is.
And we should not fear tomorrow. We should rise to the occasion and secure for the next generation
innovation and ambition and drive in this country. We build the future fearlessly and confidently, so that America always will be strong, prosperous, and dominant.
Every corner of America.
And the other thing we're going to add to that, we want to be free, and we're going to continue to be free as long as we're smart.
We choose to protect families, invest in our communities, and harness innovation for the common good.
We can't be taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home. You're going to get free rent. Everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything is going to end up in squalor, destruction, and death.
To affordability.
And also death for our country.
And we determine.
So we have to stop the
Americans will determine
the communist rhetoric that you're hearing right now.
Because is it going to be American exceptionalism?
They don't act. I'm very happy a poll came out. It said they're highly educated.
Personally,
but doing very poorly.
I believe in America.
In other words, they're losers.
And
they went to school,
in Louisiana,
got a good education. Now they can't. They don't know what they're doing. So what they do is they complain about.
Thank you for the inspiring remarks, Governor, and a fulsome 2 minutes.
But we can't let the communist ideology even. We don't want to even think about it.
Turn it over to Entergy CEO Drew Marsh.
So we're joined today by some of the people helping to do all of the things that I just talked about, putting the Ratepayer Protection Pledge into action.
Thank you to the President
and here with us are
Secretary
of Energy Chris Wright, who's
on
an outstanding person. Doug Burgum told me about Chris.
Also want to thank the governors.
I wanted Doug to head up energy, and Doug said, no, there's one man that's better. Who? Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is that?
Who we proudly serve.
Turned out to be this guy right over
regulators,
here.
And of course,
and
our
he's turned out to be incredible.
Meta, and Google was mentioned earlier, and
Venezuela is running
in Louisiana,
more than anybody has ever run before. I think we can say, Chris.
To win the transformational metadata center for Richland Parish, from the beginning to focused on benefiting customers and communities.
A friend of mine, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, popular guy, really smart, street smart, and book smart.
This effort that we've undertaken in Louisiana is a great example.
We have the governor of Nebraska, Jim
to bring
Pillen,
business and communities together to protect existing customers and to move with speed.
Hello, Jim.
To
looking good.
win
You don't
the AI
change
race.
much.
Our part in Entergy was driven by our customer focus and, of course, our vertical integration, which provided a one-stop shop for innovative solutions.
We had a very good night 2 nights ago.
Our Fair Share Plus pledge
place
is
called
modeled
Arizona,
after the Ratepayer
14 out of
Protection
14.
Pledge that the administration put in
that
place,
kind of numbers
and
in,
will deliver approximately
I think we're
$7
doing
billion
those numbers everywhere.
of benefits
and
to
it's all based on common sense.
over the
we're conservative
next 2 decades.
with this, with that, whatever you want.
In Louisiana,
most important thing
Fair
is
Share
people
Plus
of common
includes
sense.
everything that Governor Landry
we want to have
was talking
strong
about.
borders. We want to have good education. We want to have low taxes. We want to have a great military.
Jones will talk about.
We're people of common sense, and if you do that, you'll be
workforce development.
very successful.
There are $140 million
Governor of Idaho,
of energy
Brad
efficiency
Little,
benefits and $120 million of benefits
Governor of
for
Georgia, Brian
vulnerable
Kemp.
customers
Thank you,
included in that
Great
transaction. And of course,
Entergy
all the
CEO
modern,
Drew
resilient,
Marsh.
efficient infrastructure
Drew,
that is being built to support Meta also
Great job
supports
you're doing.
the rest of the existing
Southern Company
customers on the
CEO
grid.
Chris Womack.
And Fair Share Plus pledge also means that Meta covers its entire
Chris.
incremental costs.
I didn't know that was your name. I said,
during the
just saw you.
contract.
I said, that's a
and
smart
it
guy
means it covers fixed costs.
You did that big
in
job.
part, their fair
making people
fixed
in
costs
Georgia
that
rich.
other customers are paying today. Things like
Meta
storm
President
costs and resilience
Tina Powell,
investment and compliance
my
costs.
friend, she was with me for 4 years in the White House.
Those costs total up, and
I called up Mark. I said, you hired the right person. You got the right person.
over the life of the contract, and that's in addition
Columbia
to the
County Commission Chairman
that we were talking about.
Doug Duncan.
The White House's Ratepayer Protection Pledge, Governor Landry's recent executive order,
and Sheldon
our
Jones
Fair Share
of
Plus
Louisiana's
pledge
Richland
are
Parish
all
School
aligned
District
to ensure that we grow and support this transformational investment opportunity.
Thank you.
And we do it in a way that creates
fantastically
benefits
well. And again,
for all
Lee
customers.
Zeldin has been so
That's how we win the AI race and responsibly serve all of our customers at the same time. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thanks so much, Drew. Now we'll turn it over to Meta President Tina Powell, who has a lot of fans in northern Louisiana where the economic opportunities have been transformed.
Various and sundry subjects. One is the Iran war.
Thank you.
Well, again,
it's
we're
a
doing
privilege
very well.
to be here with you.
Very,
it was a
very
privilege
well.
to be with you
I
and
would say
President
better
Trump
than
when
anybody
we
expected
signed the
could be done.
Ratepayer Protection Pledge at the
We've
White House
knocked
not
out
too
their
long
Navy,
ago.
their Air Force.
It is also
all
really
of their
a privilege
radar,
to be
most
at
of their
EPA with Administrator
capability
Lee
in
Zeldin,
terms
who
of
really is an
manufacturing.
incredible person to work with.
Their
Thank you
drones
so
are
much,
down
Mr. Administrator.
84%. Their missiles are down 91%.
As the Secretary said, we could not be more proud
I had a newspaper
of our
say
investment in
they're in
Richland
stronger
Parish
position
and
today
really
than they were
throughout
4 months
Louisiana.
ago. No,
Without Governor
that's not the
Landry's
truth.
leadership,
That's not
we
right.
would
I
not
can't
have been
believe they're even
able
allowed
to
to
make the
say. New York
investments
Times
that we
said
have made.
they're in stronger
And frankly,
position
to
today.
do
They
it
have
in a
no
way
military.
that
They have no
had in
navy.
mind the
They
citizens
had
and the
159
community.
ships. Everyone's
I think
at the
there
bottom
is a
of
new
this.
model, and the
They
new
have
model is for
212
companies
airplanes.
like
Everyone
ours
is gone.
to listen very humbly
They have
to
no
the
radar.
community
They have
and
no
to really
anti-aircraft.
ask what
They have
the
no
needs
nothing.
are. We
Other
could
than they're
not
mean,
be more proud
and they're smart,
that the
and they still have
superintendent
some
of Richland
capability.
Parish called us and said
But
that
4
because
months
of the
ago,
tax
trust me,
revenue
they were much
surplus, every
stronger.
teacher
Okay, I want
in
to give you
Richland
the
Parish
non-fake
is getting
news.
an up to $50,000
But we're going to do that, and
bonus.
we're going to then have the
One
Dodgers,
of those
the World
very
Championship
special
Dodgers
teachers
are going to be
is
over at the
here.
White House. They're going to be waiting.
Thomasina Minor, would you please stand
I'll meet a
up?
man
We are so honored.
just about the best pitcher in baseball, and just about the best hitter in baseball, and just about the best fielder in the outfield in baseball. And needless to say, I guess he had a game where he pitched a almost perfect game.
Also are very
and he had 2 or
proud
3
of
home
the
runs in
investment
that game, and they said it was
directly
probably,
to businesses.
You know,
to
never
date,
seen that.
we've
Only
had
Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was a great hitter.
contracts that have gone
but even
straight
the Babe
to
didn't
businesses
throw one
in
hitter
Richland
and hit 3
Parish
home runs, which
and
would make it, I would
particularly small
imagine,
business owners. It's
about
been
the
really
greatest
fun
game
to
ever
meet so
played.
many of those
So
business
we're gonna
owners
meet him and all of
who
the
doubled
people, the
their
Dodgers
business,
won the World
increased
Championship,
the
and
jobs
we see
in their
the champions, the
businesses,
Super
and
Bowl
have really been
champions,
thriving in the
baseball,
community.
basketball, all of
We
them.
also
They
are
like to come
working
over to the
with
White House. We're going to have a
Louisiana
little
Delta
thing in a
Community
few
College.
minutes. But
As
I
we
want to
all
just thank
know,
everybody.
there are so many open jobs, welders, electricians, fiber technicians, and those community colleges and trade schools are the heart and soul of the training.
About this group, and they said, could you come over and run over and say a few how great these things? And I said, absolutely, I will. And you're going to have. They gave me the lowest seat I've ever sat in. They said that they do that on purpose. Taxes. I don't think it was Chris that did it. I'm just trying to compare. Everybody else. Chris wouldn't do that, but it's it's really an honor to be with you. Tremendous people. It's a really important subject, so I wanted to be here and say a few words, and then I'll head out and you'll handle it. All that money. It's something you're very familiar with. Take it. You might as well do it yourself. So. It's an honor to be with you, and maybe I'll let real doers and Lee and amazing. It's an amazing group. We're here today to continue the incredible progress we're making in communities nationwide to ensure that as new data centers go up, they're going up all over. Electricity bills for American families will actually come down. You're going to be building your own data centers, and you're going to building your own electric plants. You're essentially becoming a utility. Like Con Edison in New York, but maybe at a level that nobody's ever seen before, because we've seen some of the plants that they're building are absolutely incredible. They're absolutely incredible. They're electric plants, electric manufacturing plants. It's hard to believe, but you need double the electricity that we have right now, maybe even more than that, to really fulfill what you want to do. We're leading China by a lot. And using our old grid would not have worked. And I came up with the idea that, build your own plant. This way nobody can complain. You won't call me and say what a terrible job I'm doing, because we have a 200-year-old grid that's not the best in the world. You look at some places. You take a look at California, you have brownouts and blackouts every weekend. The last thing they're going to be able to do is supply electric at numbers. Nobody's ever explained to me why it's so much electricity, why you need so much, nor did I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now. Think of it. So we produce tremendous amounts of electricity for every business. And this industry needs more than double that amount. So we're letting you build your own with the Trump administration's Ratepayer Protection Pledge. The American innovators and consumers thrive to win together, because we're insisting that AI, data centers, and big tech companies pay their own way. And that's what they're doing, and they're happy to do it, because this way they're going to be able to function brilliantly. They're going to have a lot of electricity left over, and they'll put that into the grid. So we'll actually end up with more electricity. The rates are going to go down. As president, I've always said that America's goal must be to dominate the future, and that includes being the number one superpower in artificial intelligence. So important. And this is, I think, bigger than frankly, I think it's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than anything anyone's seen thus far. Maybe someday there'll be something bigger than this. Probably will. But I think up until this point,
in New York
AI is probably the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. And whoever wins that race is probably going to win, period. And again, we're leading China. We want to keep it that way. President Xi is coming over on September 24th. And we talked about it when I was over in Beijing. And we'll be talking about it again. But he was very impressed with the job we've done. Ordinarily, they don't have any problem with electric. They build a lot of electric. They don't do environmental impact statements. They just say, you want electric, we'll build it. They don't use too many windmills. They make the windmills, but they don't use them. They do it the old-fashioned way in many ways. The United States never settled for second, and we don't under this administration. I can tell you that. You see that, because we're the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. We live by the motto, America First. That's what's made us very strong, and we're leading China and all other countries by a lot in AI and just about every other category, including crypto. We want to stay in front in crypto. They'd like to take that over. So many other things they'd like to take over. They're highly competitive, if you haven't noticed. Thanks in part to this incredible technology boom, investments are pouring into the United States from all over the world. $19.2 trillion, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. So think of it, $19.2 trillion
so many
in 12
lives
months.
in Louisiana.
Okay,
People like
and
Eric
the previous
and
administration had less than $1 trillion
because of
in
the
4
policies
years.
that y'all have
I
laid
would
out
say
that we've
that's an
accepted.
improvement.
They
Do I
have
get
seen
credit for it?
opportunities
No.
they've never deemed to have existed in Louisiana.
credit.
People like Sheldon Jones, the superintendent of Richmond Power.
19.2 in 12 months versus
His teachers
less than one
went
in 4 years.
from
It's hard to believe,
the lowest
right? But
paid
that's the way it is.
in
No credit, but we
Louisiana
just keep chugging
to the
along.
highest
But
paid
as I
teachers
say,
in
I get no
Louisiana.
credit
Their
for
lives have
anything,
been
and then I look around the
completely
Oval Office. I
transformed.
said, "Oh, but we're in
I
the
think it's
Oval Office."
important
So I
for
guess we do
Americans
get
to
credit.
Imagine this.
But less than 2 years ago, our country
just
was dead.
For 24
And I've had this said by so many leaders. They
every
use the
data
expression
center
a little bit different sometimes,
United
said
States
differently,
went
but
dark.
meaning the same thing. They say,
This press conference,
"Sir, less
would
than
not
2
be
years
able to
ago,
be
your
live
country
streamed.
was dead,
Businesses
and now
would
you
no
have the
longer
hottest
be
country
able to
anywhere in the
access
world,
payroll
and we are the
or
hottest in the
emails
world."
or
At the same time, we
customer
know that the
records.
data centers and
Healthcare
AI
would
are
come to a
dramatically
grinding halt.
increasing the demand for electricity. It's
Millions
only fair that
of Americans
because they're building
would
the new
quickly
infrastructure required to
realize
meet this
that the
demand should
digital
be
tools
borne
they
by the
depend on
corporations
every day
themselves, not by
are
the American
extremely important
consumers and
to
the
them.
American patriots, American
And
citizens.
that's why data centers are so important.
And I think
They're
everybody
instruments that
agrees
will
to
shape
it.
the
And
future
actually,
and
they really don't have a
determine
choice because
our
there's no
national
way of
security.
producing that
And
kind
just
of
as
electricity, the
president
kind
spoke
you
about,
need.
just as
And they want to do
America
it
once led
themselves.
the
And
space
honestly, they're
race,
coming up
we
with
now
some
face a new
plans
race.
that are
This one, though, is going to be
genius,
defined
just
by
like
technology and artificial
they are.
intelligence. And who wins?
That's why earlier this year I
Who wins
introduced
will
the
absolutely
Ratepayer
control
Protection
the
Pledge.
levers of global
Under this
power.
groundbreaking plan, America's
But just as the
largest tech
space race
companies
demanded
have
courage and
formally
vision,
committed
so
to
does this
fund
one.
or build
But winning,
all energy
as the president
infrastructure
said,
required
cannot
to meet the
come at
demand
cost
they
of
are
American
placing on the
families.
grid.
And his
So
Ratepayer
they're going to be
Protection Pledge demands that technology companies cover costs of power generation infrastructure rather than shifting them to you.
All of those
to the
electric
citizens out there.
needs, and we're giving them the right to build their own power plant.
Companies must build, bring, or buy the generation they need, negotiate separate rate structures, and fully fund the grid upgrades to support their operation. In Louisiana, we
He
didn't
is
just
phenomenal.
follow
He's
the
incredible. He's
president's
an
model. We
MVP
pioneered
candidate. I
Our
will tell you.
first-of-a-kind
He
partnership
is doing
with Meta
things at levels,
should
and
be a
by the way,
template,
everything
not an
perfectly.
exception. Today,
He's totally into
Meta,
the environment.
not
He's getting things done in 2, 3, 4 weeks. That
fund
used to
all
take
new
years
generation
and
transmission
years.
upgrades
And
infrastructure
people are getting their
tied
approvals,
to
and
this
they're building
historic
buildings.
investment.
We're building more buildings now,
Our
plants,
deal, as the president
and
said earlier,
all sorts
he
of
recognized
manufacturing
is going to
capability
save
that
Louisiana
we've never
ratepayers
done anywhere near it. Many times. And
$2.6
companies are pouring in.
billion
Toyota
over that deal.
the other day, as you know,
That
announced that
strengthens
they're
our grid
moving
reliability and
into
reduces
our
our
country
resiliency
from
costs.
Mexico. They're
And if you
going to be,
live
I
along
think,
the Gulf
closing up a
Coast,
lot of their operation, maybe all of it
resiliency
in
is
Mexico.
extremely
They're moving to
important.
this country.
But more
We have,
importantly, there's a real local impact.
we have more car
For Richmond
plants
Parish,
being built
the change
now
has
in the
been
United States
transformational.
than at
As I
any
said earlier,
time
teachers
in
went
history.
from the
And you know,
lowest
we
paid
went years
to the
before
highest
me.
paid.
We went
And
many
since
years with
2020,
no car
Richmond
plant being
Parish's
built.
average
They
wage
wouldn't even
has
think about
grown
building in this country now.
185%.
With a hot, same thing with chips.
No.
We'll have
That's how much the
about
taxes have grown.
50% by the time this term is
the
over.
average wage has
We're
grown
going to have
nearly
probably
30%. So
50%
think
of the
about
chip
getting
market.
a 30%
a year ago,
pay rate.
when we
Think about what that
began,
would mean to American
we had no chip
families.
market. We had
That's how
virtually
you
none
address
other than Intel. We had
affordability.
Intel.
That's how Louisiana
And we made a
families are
purchase
winning.
of
And that's what's
10% of
happening
Intel.
when
We got it for
innovation
the
meets
right price.
opportunities.
And we
In
made
Louisiana, we've
approximately
also streamlined our
$72 billion
permitting process
on that deal. So it was good. Do I get credit
Projects
for that
like
one?
this
No.
Can be permanent.
I get no
in 8
credit.
Months. That matches the president's speed to power vision from America's energy.
So we did that,
sector.
and we made a lot of great deals. I'll tell you, and
that
we keep it
Meta's,
going too.
partnership
But
with
Intel's
us
been fantastic.
is a
One of the
national
hottest
standard.
companies anywhere
And
in the
the
country, and
president's
when we
agenda
met them, they were
drives
really
America to
having very
expand
big
domestic energy
difficulty. We worked with them,
as we
but
accelerate
the stock
AI
price has gone up many times. I think it's maybe the
And we're
hottest or one of the
setting a national
hottest
standard.
anywhere in the
You know,
world.
I
So it was an
believe-
honor to
and
do
I-
it.
and I
I
would
love
say this, I
looking
think the
good.
president believes
We
this
made
as
a lot of
well.
money. We made, I
This
guess,
is
over
America's
72 billion
This is
on
a
that
moment
profit.
where we get to protect our people.
They've
empower our
also agreed to
communities,
invest heavily
and
in local
unleash
communities where data
unprecedented
centers are
economic
built,
opportunity.
supporting job
And it's a
training
moment to
and
prove that
local
when
services.
innovation meets
They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. In other words, for the
America
governors
doesn't
in the
fear
room, you
tomorrow.
have great governors
That's
in
what-
this room.
That's what the groups out
And
there want
these
us to
companies
do.
are spending spending tremendous amounts of money on the communities, the local communities.
We should rise to the occasion.
I think it's important that we tell the local communities that, because
the next great American
other
era.
nations are trying to get us to slow down.
Than just progress for
and
Louisiana.
they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on
for every corner of
press,
America.
PR,
and these governors
trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. You have communities that really want the data centers.
The president is showing us,
and frankly, those are the smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs. Very little actual disruption.
Who wins?
And the ones that don't want it, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country, because they're begging for them
in America
to be there. And some of them are great communities, very forward-looking communities, very smart communities. Since I introduced this plan just a few months ago, more than 220 utilities, tech companies, state governments, and other partners have signed our Ratepayer Protection Pledge.
CEO Drew
Electricity rates for 80% of the power distributed in America are now being kept in check by the plan. We have kept rates down, way down. We inherited the worst inflation in the history of America from the Biden administration. And as you know, last week it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down more than it's been in over 6 years. And other things are happening that are so fantastic. And when all these buildings, plants, factories that we're talking about start opening up, all I know is I'd like to be the next president, because I'm going to make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening, and they're going to be saying what a genius they are. That happened with Biden. I got cuts in medicine prices that statutorily took 2 or 3 years. And I got these tremendous cuts, and then they sat there and said, oh, yeah, they didn't even know where they came from. But I got them, and this is going to be a much bigger example. You have all these plants that are going to be opening up over the next 2 years. Sooner, but 2 years. And somebody's going to look very, very smart. And I hope you remember me, because what we've done is something that nobody thought was possible. For example, Southern companies, Georgia Power has frozen base rates for households until 2029. Is anybody here from Georgia Power?
And will deliver approximately $7 billion benefits to customers over the next 2 decades. In Louisiana,
that's a great job. I've heard about it. Congratulations to both, and it's fantastic. And Georgia, the revenue from Google's data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you call using it to your advantage. The numbers are so incredible. Nobody's ever seen. All my life, the biggest building in the whole world was the Pentagon. And you can fit 25 Pentagons into some of these buildings. 25. And if you happen to be a community, and there's very little disruption. They're just large. They go on for miles. And frankly, if you like certain types of things, they're incredible to look at, to see that we could do something like this. But they also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that, revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? Thank you very much. Great job. That's a great job.
The White House
and you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, we don't want a data center. Usually those are the people that actually want them. And they'd like you not to build them. Because you know what? If it doesn't go to you, and if it doesn't go to Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. And those people are very happy to get them, too, the smart people. American Electric Power now projects that their customers will enjoy as much as $16 billion in cost offsets for consumers thanks to their data center contracts.
In northern Louisiana, where the economic opportunities have been
So think of that. That's cost offsets. In Iowa, Alliant Energy data center deals. Where are you, Alliant?
And President Trump when we signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge at the White House not too long ago. It is
data
also
center
really
deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers for at least 5 years. So your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana, this guy looks like he's from Louisiana to me.
Of our investment in
Public
Richland
school
Parish
teachers
and
in
really
Richard.
throughout Louisiana.
So think of that.
Without
Richland
Governor
Parish
Ramsey's
are getting as much as
leadership, we would not have been able
$50,000
to make
in
the
bonuses this
investments that
year
we have
thanks to a
made,
$27
and
billion
frankly, to do it in a
project by
way
Meta
that had in
that
mind
will
the
also save
citizens
local
and the
residents
community.
$2.6 billion
I think there is
on
a new
their
model,
electricity
and the new model
bills.
is for
Their
companies
electricity
like
is going
ours
down
to
in
listen very humbly to the community and to really ask what the needs are. We could not be more proud.
That's big stuff, Mr. Governor, right?
Of
You didn't have any
Parish
doubt
called us
about it.
and
Here's
said
a
that because
governor
of
doing
the
a great
tax
job.
revenue,
We have some
surplus,
really great governors in
every
this room.
teacher in Richland
With the
Parish
Ratepayer
is getting
Protection
an
Pledge,
up to
we're
$50,000
creating a fair deal for
bonus.
everybody. This
One
is
of
how
those
we'll
very
grow our
special
economy,
teachers
lower the
is
cost
here.
of living,
Tom
protect
Messina,
American
Minor, would you
consumers,
please
and
stand
lead
up?
the
We
world
are
in
so
AI
honored.
and high tech. All at the same time. We want to lead the world. And it is said, if you come in second, you're going to be second overall. Because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been any, like in Georgia, there's no other thing you can do to create numbers like you've created, Brian. Both of you, there's no other thing. You can do 100 different deals, 100. It is nothing close to what you've been able to do. And why? They put a big, gorgeous new plant in a certain location. Big deal.
It's been really fun to meet so many of those business owners
Unfortunately,
who doubled
there are some who would like to lead us down the opposite path.
And have really been
And
thriving.
I call them the radical left communists. I call them socialists, but these people are communists. Actually, more. I think it's a much more accurate term.
As we all know,
Want to shut down
there are
all new
so
development,
many
kill our
open jobs,
most successful
welders,
industries,
electricians,
destroy
fiber
hundreds of
technicians,
thousands
and
of
those
jobs,
community
and
colleges
surrender the
trade
AI
schools
race
are
to
the
China.
heart and
And
soul
China,
of
look,
the training that
about this group,
I'm not blaming them.
I have a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect for President Xi.
I said absolutely.
They represent China. We represent the United States of America. They lobby.
They said that they do that.
They spend money on it.
I don't think it was
and
Chris.
They want communities to reject them as much as possible because they like to be leading the race. But we're leading the race, and unless we're very foolish and frankly very stupid,
it's a really
we'll continue to lead the race.
I wanted to be here. I'll say a few words, and then
a lot of people didn't expect that was possible.
You'll handle it. And
perhaps even worse, the radical left plans would not lower your electricity bills, but they would actually increase them very substantially because you wouldn't have all of this money pouring in.
We're here today to continue the
American energy would be
making in
far more expensive,
nationwide,
regulating
to ensure
oil,
that as
natural gas,
new
and
data
clean,
centers
beautiful
go up,
coal,
and it's
it would
they're going
be
up.
the end of all of it.
Electricity bills
The end
for
of all
American
of it.
families will actually
Be
come
the end,
down.
frankly, it'll be end.
You're going to be building your own data centers, and you're going to build.
We've never had anything
your
like
own
what's happening
electric
right
plants.
now.
You're essentially becoming a
I call
utility.
them the Democrats because their
like Con
policies are so
Edison in
bad.
New York, but maybe at a level that nobody's ever seen before, because we've seen some of the plants that they're building are absolutely incredible.
Transgender, they want
absolutely incredible.
Transgender for everybody. I call it transgender mutilization of your children.
It's hard to believe
everybody.
You need double the electricity that we have right now, maybe even more than that, to really fulfill what you want to do. We're leading China by a lot.
We've done a hell of a job in getting them out. Murderers, 11,000.
Using our old grid would not have worked.
888
and
murderers.
I came up with the idea that build your own plant. This way nobody can complain.
Administration,
we'll call me and say what a terrible job I'm doing because we have a 200-year-old grid.
Democrats in Congress want less energy,
not the best in the world.
Given the chance,
some places, you take a look at California,
soaring and inflation skyrocketing, which is exactly
the
what
last
would
thing
happen.
they're going to be able to do is
if you had somebody else sitting in the position that I am right now.
Nobody's ever explained to me why
we did with the Green New Scam. Where we were scammed.
Why you need so much, nor did I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now. Think of it. So we produce tremendous amounts of electricity for every business.
Watch your television.
This industry needs more than double that amount.
Donald Trump against Sleepy
Joe Biden. So we're letting you build your own
because the wind
with the Trump administration's
Ratepayer
would like to watch
Protection
the debate tonight. I'm sorry.
The American innovators and consumers thrive.
That's one of the great scams
together because we're insisting that AI
dislike another country, let them keep building windmills.
They are going down.
People are
that's what they're doing, and they're happy to do it.
But we're not going to let it happen
because this way
we're going to be able to
we're going to use the kind of things that work. brilliantly. They're going to have a lot of electricity
better than
left over.
anybody
They'll
ever
put that
thought
into the
possible.
grid.
So experts
will actually end up with more electricity. The rates are going to go down. As president,
society produces
I've always said that America's
is the single
goal must be
greatest
to dominate
indicator of
the
its
future,
advancement,
and that includes
as a
being
civilization,
the number one
its
success
superpower
as
as a
artificial
country.
intelligence.
Think
So
of it.
important.
When you think,
and this is, I think,
the
bigger
amount
than the.
of
Frankly, I think it's
energy
bigger than the
produced,
internet.
so when you give those
it's bigger
fast
than
approvals, that's a
anything anyone's
positive
seen
thing.
thus
I want
far.
you to
Maybe
feel
someday
good.
there'll be something
Yet
bigger than
instead
this.
of
Probably
offering
will.
a positive
But I think up
version
until this
and
point,
vision for
AI
carrying
is
American
probably the biggest thing
civilization
anybody's
to new
ever
heights,
seen.
the radical left
And
only
whoever
wants
wins
to
that
limit
race is
our
probably going to win.
energy
Period.
consumption and reign
And
in
again,
our
we're leading
American
China.
dreams.
We want to
We
keep
have
it
the
that way.
American
President
dream.
Xi's coming over on
Until
September 24th.
we came along, first we had a
we
great
talked about it when I was
first term.
over in
We had the
Beijing.
greatest economy in the history
And
of our
we'll be
country.
talking about
and
it
this
again.
economy will
But he was
blow
very
it away.
impressed with the
We're
job
doing
we've
very
done,
well
'cause,
against
ordinarily,
the Islamic
they
Republic
don't have any problem with
of Iran.
electric. They build a lot of
doing
electric.
extremely well.
They don't do
They would
environmental
like to
impact
do something,
statements.
but I
They
say
just
they're not
you want
ready
electric,
yet.
we'll build
They
it.
need more of the
They
same.
don't use too many windmills.
They're
They
not
make the
ready yet.
windmills,
They
but
got
they
some
don't use
evil
them.
intentions. We cannot let them have.
They do it the old-fashioned way.
nuclear weapon.
Anyways,
If we did
United
all this
States
that I'm talking about
never
your
settled
data
for second,
centers,
and we don't
isn't that
under this
important?
administration. I can
When
tell
they
you
start
that. You see
blowing
that
away
'cause
communities,
we have the hottest
one
country
by
right
one.
now anywhere in the world.
We
We
cannot
live by
let
the motto
them
"America First."
ever
That's
even
what's
think
made us
about having
very strong,
a
and
nuclear
we're leading,
weapon.
and that's exactly
China
what's
and
happening.
all
They'll
other
never have a
countries by
nuclear
a lot
weapon.
in
Under
AI
the
and
just about every other category, including crypto. We're going to stay in front in crypto. They'd
And by
love
the
to
way,
take that over.
this should have been
So many
done
other
by
things
other.
they'd like
They've been
to
saying
take over.
47
They're
years now for
highly
about 3
competitive,
years.
if you haven't noticed.
They should have been done
But thanks in part to
for 50
this
years by
incredible
other American
technology boom,
presidents or other
investments
countries.
are pouring into the
Didn't have to
United
be us,
States
but it
from all
seems
over
to-
the world. We don't do it, nobody else is. But I will, and nobody else has the capability to do it either. We build
jobs. So think
in
of
my
the
first term, the
19.2
greatest
trillion
military anywhere in the
12
world.
months. And we're using it a little more than I
And
thought.
the
but
previous
that's all right. We had
administration had less than
Venezuela
1
that Chris
trillion
is doing a fantastic
in 4
job,
years.
and we
I would
paid
say
for the cost
that's
of
an
that war
improvement.
many
Do I
times
get
over.
credit
We're
for it?
taking
No.
millions and millions of barrels of oil. It's going
No
to
credit.
Houston and Louisiana. You know that? You see those ships lined up.
19.2
And,
in 12 months versus
again, we
less
paid for
than
that
1
many
in 4
times
years.
over,
It's
and
hard
we
to
have a
believe,
great
right?
relationship
That's the way it
with
is.
Venezuela,
but we just keep
and
chugging
the people
along.
are happy in
As
Venezuela
I say,
right now.
I
They
get
can't
no
believe
credit
what's
for
happening.
anything,
They have
and then
the
I look
biggest
around the Oval
companies,
Office,
the biggest
they say,
oil
"Oh, but
companies
we're
in
the
the
Oval
world
Office."
going in and
So I
doing
guess we do
business
get
like
credit.
nobody ever thought possible.
But less
And
than
we're
2 years
taking
ago,
some,
our
we
country
should,
was
and
dead.
They're taking.
And I've had this said by so many
taking
leaders.
some, and,
They
it's
use the
very
expression a
interesting
little
that,
bit different sometimes. Said
they're making
differently,
more
but
money.
meaning the
Chris is
same
showing me
thing.
some
They say,
numbers. They're making more money, Venezuela,
Sir, less
now
than 2 years ago,
than
your
they've
country
ever made
was dead,
before.
and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world,
And we're making a lot,
And we
too.
are the hottest in the world,
And I think we're entitled
At the
to
same
that.
time,
So
we
it was
know
really
that the data
something.
centers
Took
and AI
that as a
are
one-day
dramatically
war.
increasing
Took
the
one day,
demand for
people said, "Oh, we're
electricity.
gonna
It's
be
only
tied up
fair
there
that
forever."
the cost of
And
building
here,
the new
we were in
infrastructure
Vietnam
required to
for
meet
20
this
years.
demand should be
Lost
borne by the
thousands and
corporations
hundreds of thousands
themselves,
of
not
lives,
by
but
the American
thousands and
consumers
thousands
and
of
the
lives.
American
We're in
patriots, American
Afghanistan for
citizens.
years.
And
We're in
I
all
think
these
everybody
wars
agrees
that
to it.
you
And actually,
heard about
they really
for
don't have a
years
choice
and
because there's no
years.
way of producing
We
that
were,
kind of electricity, the kind you need.
I called them
and they want to
never-ending
do it
wars, but
themselves.
we're in for
and
4
honestly,
months.
they're coming up with some plans.
And we,
that are
I had a very sad day yesterday. I
genius,
went to
just
Dover.
like
Four
just like they
great
are.
American
That's why
patriots
earlier
killed.
this
That's
year I
18 in 2
introduced
wars.
the Ratepayer
One is too
Protection
many.
Pledge.
But it's 18.
Under this
whereas in
groundbreaking plan, America's
Vietnam, we
largest
lost
tech companies have
200,000
formally committed to
lost
fund or build
thousands
all
and thousands
energy infrastructure required to meet the
Afghanistan, we
demand.
lost
They are
thousands in
placing
every
on the
war,
grid.
the Korean War, thousands.
So they're going
and
to be funded.
These wars all lasted for years, and we want to get it over with, and we want to do it right. But we have to do what we came to do, and that's we can't
all of
let
those
these
electric
people,
needs,
very
and we're giving them the right to
we
build
can't
their
let
own
them have
power
what they want,
plant.
which is nuclear weapons. Came from all of this success came from innovation and ambition and drive. In this country, we build the future fearlessly and confidently, so that America always will be strong, prosperous,
MVP candidate.
dominant.
I will tell you.
And the other thing
He
we're going
is
to
doing
that,
things
we
at
want to be
levels,
free, and we're going to
by the
continue
way,
to be
everything
free as long as
perfectly.
we're smart.
He's totally
and
into
we
the
can't
environment,
be
but he's getting things things done in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home and people get free rent. Everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything's going to end up in squalor, all sorts of manufacturing capability that we've never done anywhere near it. So we have to stop many times. And companies are pouring in Toyota. The communist rhetoric the other day, announced that they're moving into our country from
I'm very happy
Mexico.
the poll came out. It said they're highly educated,
closing up a lot of their operation, maybe all of it in Mexico. They're moving to this country.
They're losers.
We have
They went to school.
We have
got a
more
good
car plants
education.
being
Now they
built
can't.
now in the United
They don't know what
States
they're doing.
than at
So
any
what they do
time
is they complain
in
about
history.
people
And
like
we went
yourselves
years
that have done
before
so well.
me, but we can't
went
let
many
the
years
with no
ideology
car
even.
built. I mean,
We don't want to even think
about
it
building
for
in
this
this
country.
country.
It'd be
Now,
terrible.
with a hot.
So we're joined today by some of the people helping to do
about
all of the things that I
by the
just
time
talked
this
about,
term is
putting
over.
the Ratepayer
We're going to have
Protection
probably
Pledge into
50%
action.
of the chip market.
And here with us
a year ago,
Secretary
when we
of Energy
began,
Chris Wright, who's
we had no
an
chip
outstanding
market. We had virtually
person.
none other
Doug
than
Burgum
Intel.
told
We
me
had
about
Intel.
this. I didn't know, Chris.
And we made a purchase
I wanted
of
Doug to
10%
head
of
up energy,
Intel.
and Doug said, no,
We
there's
got it
one
for the
man
right
that's
price.
better. Who? Chris Wright.
And
I said,
we
who
made
the hell is that?
approximately $72
Turned out to
billion
be
on
this guy
that
right
deal.
over here.
So it
And
was
he said,
good.
do I get credit for that one? No.
Really incredible.
I get no credit.
Venezuela running
A lot of more than anybody has ever run before. I think we can say, Chris.
Well, we did that.
a great job.
We made a lot of
appreciate
great
it. Thank
deals,
you.
I'll tell you. We keep it going too. But Intel's been fantastic, one of the hottest companies anywhere in the country. And when we met them,
A friend
they
of
were
mine,
really
the governor of
having very
Louisiana,
big
Jeff
difficulty.
Landry,
We worked
popular
with them.
guy, really
But,
smart, street
the
smart,
stock
and
price
book
has gone
smart,
up many times. I think it's
which is a
maybe
rare
the hottest or one of the
combination, by the
hottest.
way. We have the
Anywhere in the
governor
world.
of Nebraska,
So that was an honor
Jim
to
Pillen,
do it.
who's
I love looking
done a
good.
fantastic job.
We made a lot of money. We made, I guess, over $72 billion on the profit.
Oh, hello, Jim.
They've also agreed to invest heavily in local communities where
You
data
don't change
centers are
much.
built.
How's Nebraska
supporting job
doing good?
training and local
Do they
services.
still like Trump in
They're
Nebraska?
really
I
spending a
think so.
tremendous amount of money. In other
We had
words,
a very
the
good
governors
night 2 nights
in the
ago
room.
in
You have great
place called
governors in this
Arizona.
room.
We're 14
and
out of 14.
these companies are spending
And we're
tremendous
doing
amounts of
that kind of
money
numbers
on
in
the communities.
I think we're doing those numbers everywhere.
So
and it's all
I think
based
it's
on
important
common
that we
sense.
tell the local
we're conservative,
communities that
we're this, we're
because
that, whatever you want.
other nations
Most important thing is
are
we're people of
trying to
common
get us
sense.
to slow down.
We want to have strong borders.
And
we
they're
want to have
spending
good
a lot of
education.
money
We want to
on
have low taxes. We want to have a good
propaganda,
military. We're people of
press,
common
PR,
sense, and
trying
if you do that,
to
you'll
convince
be
everybody
very
that this
successful
isn't a
in
positive
politics.
thing. And if we don't
Governor
do
of
this, we're
Idaho,
going to be
Brad
left behind.
Little, thank you very
and
much.
even communities
Brad,
compared to other
Governor
communities. You have some
Georgia,
communities
Brian
that really
Kemp.
want this.
Thank
This
you,
isn't
all negative stuff. This is you have
communities that
Entergy
really
CEO
want
Drew
the data
Marsh.
centers.
Drew, thank you
And
very
frankly,
much.
those
Drew.
are the
Thank
smart
you, Drew.
communities because it
Great
means
job you're doing.
Tremendous numbers
Southern
of
Company
jobs.
CEO Chris Womack.
Very little actual
Chris,
disruption.
There he is
And the
again,
ones that don't
Chris.
want it, you know,
I didn't know
the
that was your
happiest
name.
people
I
in
said,
the
just
world
so
are
you. I
foreign
said, that's a
countries,
smart
number
guy, 'cause
one,
you
and
did the,
number
you
two,
did that
other
big
communities
job,
within our country
making
because they're
people enjoy
begging
you
for
rich.
them
Right?
to be there. And some of them are great communities.
Met
very,
President
very
Dina Powell.
forward-looking
She's been my friend. She was with me for 4
very
years
smart
in the White
communities.
House.
Since I introduced
And I called up
this
Mark
plan
and said,
just
"You
a few
hired the
months
right
ago, more
person.
than
You got the right
220
person."
utilities,
So,
tech companies,
great,
state
proud of you.
governments, and
Columbia
other
County
partners
Commission
have signed
Chairman
our Ratepayer
Doug Duncan.
Protection Pledge.
Doug,
Electricity
thank you, Doug.
rates,
Congratulations.
80% of the
Well
power
done.
distributed in America
And Sheldon
are now
Jones of
being kept in
Louisiana's
check by the
Richland
plan.
Parish
We
School
have
District.
kept
And,
rates
thank
down,
you
way
very
down.
much.
You know, we
Good job.
inherited
You know
the
him,
worst
don't you?
inflation in the history of
Thank you.
America.
I heard you're doing
from the Biden
fantastically well. And
administration.
again, Lee Zeldin, who's
And
been
as
so
you know,
outstanding. So-
last week it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down more than it's been in over 6
So
years.
I want to just
and other things are happening that are
I just
so
want to leave you by
fantastic. And when
saying
these,
that it's an
all
honor to
these
be here.
buildings,
I'm going
plants,
over now
factories that we're
to
talking
talk
about start
about
opening
various
up.
and sundry
All I know is
subjects.
I'd
One
like to
is
be the next president.
the Iran war.
Because I'm going to make
So
somebody
again,
look
we're
very
doing very
good.
well.
They're going to sit there
Very,
and
very
all this
well.
stuff is going to
I
be
would say
opening
better
and they're
than
going to
anybody
be
expected
saying what
to
a
be done.
genius they are. That happened
We've,
with Biden.
knocked out their
I got
Navy,
cuts
their
in
Air Force,
medicine prices.
all of their
that
radar,
statutorily
most of
took
their
2 or 3 years.
capability
And
in
I got
terms
these
of
tremendous cuts, and then they sat there and said, "Oh, yeah." They didn't even know where they came
missiles
from.
are down 91%.
But I got them, and this is going to
And,
be a much bigger
I had a
example. You have
newspaper
all these
saying
they're in
plants are
stronger
gonna be
position
opening up
today
over the
than they
next
were
2
4
years.
months ago. No, sooner.
That's not the truth.
2 years.
That's not right.
And
I
somebody's
can't
going to
believe
look very,
that
very
we're allowed to
smart.
say
And
that.
I hope
New
you
York Times
remember
said
me because
they're in stronger
what we've
position
done
today.
is
They have no
something that
military.
nobody
They
thought
have
was
no
possible.
Navy.
For
They
example,
had 159
Southern
ships.
companies,
Everyone's
Georgia
at the bottom
Power
of
has
this.
frozen
They have
base rates
212
for airplanes.
households.
Everyone is
until
gone.
2029.
They have no radar.
Is anybody here?
They have no
from
anti-aircraft.
They have no
Georgia Power. Other than they're mean and they're smart, and they still have some capability. But 4 months ago,
that's a great job. I heard about it.
Congratulations to both.
Okay, I want to give you the
fantastic
news.
Georgia, the revenue do that, and we're going to then have the data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you call a man who's just about the best pitcher in baseball and just about the best hitter in baseball.
Nobody's ever said just about the best fielder in the outfield in baseball.
The biggest building in the whole world was the Pentagon.
I guess he had a game
and you could fit 25 almost perfect
some of these buildings.
25. 2 or 3 home runs in that
and
game.
If you happen to be a community one,
and there's very little disruption.
Never seen that.
Only Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was a great hitter.
And frankly,
but even the Babes certain types of one hitter,
incredible,
and hit 3 home runs,
to see
would make it. I would imagine
we could do something like this.
About the greatest
they
game
also
ever
throw off tremendous amounts of money from the community and
people of the Dodgers. When you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes.
The White House.
We're going to have a little thing
That's not
in a few
bad.
minutes. But I want to just thank everybody.
Great job. That's a great job.
We're really talking about the Ratepayer Protection Pledge.
Stuff
It's very important because
we don't want to
you have to convince your community.
Usually those are the people that actually want them.
Ratepayer Protection Pledge is very important
because you know what? If it doesn't go to you and if it doesn't go to Georgia as an example,
you can't fight
it's going to go someplace else.
And those people are very happy to get them. We're giving smart people all of them. But American Electric Power now
amount of money
projects that their customers will enjoy as much as $16 billion.
Everybody else wants it.
In cost offsets for consumers thanks to their data center.
I don't know how they can disagree.
$16 community and $1 billion become rich.
Think of that. That's cost
offsets. Very little disruption. In Iowa,
and again,
Alliant
take all that money,
data
somebody
center
else
deals. Where
is going to take
are
it.
you?
You might as well do it yourself. So
Alliant, it's an honor to be with you, and maybe I'll let Chris and Lee and the group and Jeff. Data center deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers for at least 5 years, so your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana,
looks like he's from Louisiana for me.
Public school teachers in Richard, so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in less than
That's big stuff, Mr. Governor, right? We didn't have any doubt about it. There's a governor doing a great job. Some really great governors in this room.
With the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, we're creating a fair deal for everybody. This is how we'll grow our economy, lower the cost of living, protect American consumers, and lead the world in AI and high-tech.
Give me the lowest seat I've ever
all at the same time. We want to lead the world. And it is said if you come in second, you're going to be second overall.
Chris that did it.
Because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been anything like in Georgia. There's no other thing you can do to create numbers like you created. It's really an honor to be with you, tremendous people.
Both of you.
It's a really important subject, so I wanted to be here, say a few words, and then
it is nothing
I'll head out and you'll handle it.
And why? They put a big gorgeous plant at a certain location. Big deal.
It's so in the room incredibly positive. Unfortunately, there are some who would like to lead us down to continue the incredible progress we're making. I call them the radical communities nationwide to ensure that as
people are communists,
new data centers go up,
it's so much more accurate.
They're going up. Want to shut down all new
American families will actually come down.
Industries.
You know, you're going to be building your own data centers, and you're going to build
and surrender the AI race to China.
You're essentially becoming a utility.
I'm not blaming
Con Edison in New York, maybe
a lot of respect
at a level
for
that nobody's ever seen before, because we've seen some of the plants that they're building
the United States of America.
Incredible.
And absolutely
electric.
They spend money on
electric manufacturing.
They want communities to reject it, but you need double the electricity
that we have right now. Maybe
leading
more than that.
We're leading the race.
To really fulfill what you want to do. We're leading China by a lot.
We'll continue to lead the race. We're using a nice lead.
Would not have worked.
A lot of people didn't expect that was possible.
And I came up with the idea that
perhaps even worse, the radical left plan would not lower your electricity bills, but they would actually increase them very substantially because you wouldn't have all of this money pouring
not
in.
the best in the world. You look at some places,
American
you take a look at California, you have brownouts,
far more expensive,
regulating
oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful
supply electric
it would be
numbers.
The end of
Nobody's
all
ever explained to me why it's so much.
Frankly, it would be
electricity, why you need so much. Nor do I care that much, to be honest with you. All I know is you need more than double what we produce right now.
I call them the Democrats,
so we produce a tremendous amount of electricity
for every business.
No
men. And this industry needs more than double that amount. So we're letting you live your own with the Trump administration's rate transgender mutilization of your children. American innovators and consumers thrive where the world can win together because we're prisons insisting that AI are released into our country. Big tech companies have done a hell of a job pay their own way. Murderers 11 times are happy to do it. 888 because this way they can be able to function under the previous administration. They got a lot of electricity and the rest of it. They'll put that into the grid. But the Democrats in Congress the race are going to go down as president. Given the chance, I've always said that America's prices soaring, inflation skyrocketing, which is exactly what would happen. The number one, somebody else sitting in the position that I am so important. And this is, I think, bigger than the scam, where we were scammed. Anything anyone scammed, I got it right far. Maybe someday there'll be something bigger than this. Probably will. I think up until this point, AI is probably the biggest thing anybody's ever seen. Watch your television. And whoever wins that race is probably going to win. And again, we're leading China. We want to keep it that way. President Xi is coming over on September 24th. And we talked about it when I was over in Beijing. That's one of the great scams. We'll be talking about it again. But he was very impressed with the job we've done. Another country, let them keep building windmills. They are going down. They don't have any problem with electric. They build a lot of electric. But we're not going to let it happen to this country. They don't do environmental impact statements. We're going to use the kind of things that work. Build it. They don't use too many windmills. They make the windmills, but they don't use them. So experts, they do it the old-fashioned way in many ways. The United States, the society never settles for second. The single greatest indicator of administration, I can tell you that. You see that as a civilization, it's success right now anywhere in the world. We live by the motto America First. That's what's made us the amount of very strong, and we're leading China and all other countries by a lot in AI and I want just about every other category. Yet instead of offering a positive version and vision, they'd love to take American civilization to new heights, a radical left only wants to limit our energy consumption and rein in our American dream. Now we have the American dream pouring into the United States from all over the world. 19.2, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Hundreds of thousands of jobs. So think of it, 19.2 doing very well in 12 against the Islamic Republic. And the previous administration had less than extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. That's an improvement. They need more of the same. For it? No, they're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. If we did all this that I'm talking about your data centers is less than one in 4 years. It's hard to believe, but that's the way it is. One by one. No credit, but we just keep chugging along. Let them, as they say, I get no credit for anything, and then I look around the Oval Office. That's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon. So I guess we do get credit. But less than 2 years ago, our country was dead. And I've had this said by so many leaders. They use the expression a little bit different sometimes. They've been saying 47 years now for about 3 years, but they should have been done 2 years ago. 50 years by other American presidents. And now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Have to be us, and we are the hottest in the world. We don't do it. Nobody else. At the same time, we know that the data centers and AI are dramatically increasing the demand for electricity. The greatest military anywhere in the world. Building the new infrastructure required to meet this demand. So we had to be born by Venezuela. Chris is doing a fantastic job. And the American we paid for the cost of that war many times over. American citizens, millions and millions of barrels. I think everybody agrees to it. And actually, in Louisiana, they really don't have a choice because there's no way they're using that kind of electricity, the kind you need. And they want to do it themselves. And honestly, many times over, and we have a great relationship with Venezuela. And the people are happy in Venezuela. That's why earlier this year I introduced the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. Companies in the world under this groundbreaking plan. America's largest tech companies have formally committed to fund or build all energy infrastructure required to meet the demand they are placing on the grid. They're making more money. Chris was showing me some numbers. They're making more money, Venezuela now, than they've ever made before. And we're making a lot too. All of those electric needs. And I think we're entitled to that. And we're giving them the right to build their own power plant. It was a one-day war. Took one day, people said, we're going to be tied up there forever. And here, we were in Vietnam for 20 years. Lost thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives, but thousands and thousands of lives. We were in Afghanistan MVP years. Candidate. There were all these wars that he is doing things at levels and years. By the way, everything perfectly. We were. He's totally into the environment. I called him getting things done. We're in for 4 weeks. that used to take years.
I had a very sad day yesterday. I went to Dover.
People were getting their approvals, and they're building buildings. We're building more buildings now, plants, and all sorts of manufacturing capability that we've never done anywhere near it.
200,000
many times. And companies are pouring in. Toyota
thousands
the other day, as you know, announced that they're moving into
in every war.
our country from
thousands, and
Mexico.
These wars all last 50 years.
Closing up a lot of their operation. Maybe all of them in Mexico. They're moving to this country.
But we have to do what we came to do.
We have more car plants being built now in the United States.
Violent
that at any time
them have what they want, which is
and we went years before we went many years with no car plant being built.
Innovation and ambition and drive in this country. We build the future fearlessly and confidently, so that America always will be strong.
This term is over.
We're going to have probably 50%
and the other thing
of
we're
the
going to add
chip
to
market.
that, we want to be free, and we're going to continue to be free as long as we're smart. We had no chip market. We had virtually none other than Intel.
We can't be taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home.
We got it for the right price.
You're going to get free rent. Everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything's going to be end up in squalor.
So it was
good. Do I get credit for that one? No.
And also death for our country.
I get no credit.
So we have to stop the threat of the communist rhetoric that you're hearing right now, because
we did that, and we made a lot of great deals.
Very happy Paul came out and said they're highly educated.
But Intel's been fantastic,
but doing
one of the
very
hottest
poorly. Companies anywhere in the country, and when we met them,
they went to school.
Really
they got a good education. Now they can't.
We worked with them.
They don't know what they're doing. So what they do is they complain about
gone up many times. I think
like
it's maybe the hottest or one of the hottest.
But we can't let the communist ideology
even
to do it.
We don't want to even think about it for this country.
We made terrible.
We made, I guess, over
$70 billion. So we're joined today by some of the people helping to do all of the things that I just talked about, putting the Ratepayer Protection Pledge into action.
Supporting job training and local
Secretary
services.
of Energy,
They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. In other words, the governors
Doug Burgum told
in the
me
room.
about Chris. I didn't know Chris.
Governors in this room.
I wanted Doug to have energy.
These companies are spending tremendous amounts of
Chris Wright.
money on the communities, the local communities.
Turned out to be this guy right over here.
So I think it's important that we tell the local communities that,
really
because
incredible.
Other nations
Venezuela
are trying to get us to slow down.
More than anybody has ever run.
They're spending a lot of money on
Chris, right? He's doing a great job, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
Press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing, and if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind.
A friend of mine,
and even
the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry,
some communities that really want
really
this.
smart, street smart,
and book smart.
You have
communities that
really want the data centers.
We have the governor,
and frankly, those are the smart communities,
Jim, because it means done a fantastic
tremendous
job.
Numbers of jobs.
Where's Jim?
Very little actual disruption.
Oh, hello, Jim.
And the ones that don't want it,
you don't change much.
The happiest people in the world are
you don't change much. Number one.
How's Nebraska
Number two,
good?
Other communities within our country, because they're begging for them to be there. And some of them are great communities.
2 nights ago in a place called Arizona. We were 14 out of 14.
Very smart communities.
Since
I introduced
that kind of
this
numbers
plan just a few months ago,
I think we're doing those numbers
utilities, tech companies,
state governments,
and it's all based on common
sense. You know,
other partners have signed our Ratepayer
The most important thing is we're people of common
electricity
sense.
rates for
we want to have
80%
strong
of the power
borders, we want to have good
distributed in
education,
America are
we want to
now
have low taxes,
being
we want
kept
to have a
in
great
check
military.
by the plan.
We're people
we
of
have,
common sense, and
kept
if
rates
you do that,
down,
you'll
way
be
down. You know, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of America.
Governor of Idaho,
from the
Brad
Biden
Little,
administration.
thank you very much.
And as you know,
Governor
last
Georgia Brian Kemp,
week, it was announced that inflation is way down. It's down
Entergy
more than
CEO Drew
it's been
Marsh.
over 6
Drew,
years.
Thank you very much.
And other things are happening that are so fantastic. And when all these
Southern Company
buildings,
CEO,
plants, factories
Chris
that we're talking about start opening up. All I know is I'd like to be the next president.
I didn't know that
because
was
I'm
your
going to
name.
make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening, and they're going to
making people
be saying what a genius they are.
That happened with Biden. I got cuts in medicine prices.
Tina Powell,
that statutorily, she was with me for 4 years in the White House,
and I got these tremendous
cuts.
And
then Mark, I said, you hired the right person. You got the right person.
They didn't even know where they came from.
Great, Tina, we're proud of you.
But I got them.
Columbia County Commission Chairman.
Bigger example. You have all these plants are going to be opening up over the next 2 years.
Congratulations,
Sooner,
well done.
2 years.
And Sheldon Jones
somebody's
of
going to look very, very smart. And I hope you remember me, because what we've done is something that nobody thought was possible. For example,
Southern companies,
you're doing
Georgia Power has
well. And again,
base rates for households until 2029. Is anybody here from Georgia Power?
So I want to just a certain governor who's here. I just want to leave you by saying that it's an honor to be here. I'm going over now. That's a great job. I've heard about it. Various congratulations subjects. One is the Iran war. Georgia, the revenue from Google's data center construction is allowing them to eliminate property taxes entirely. And that's what you call using the Navy, their Air Force. The numbers are so all of their incredible. Most of their nobody's ever seen capability in terms of manufacturing. The biggest building in the whole world. Drones are down 84%. And their missiles are down 91%. Pentagons into some of these buildings. I had a newspaper say. And if you have a stronger position today than they were 4 months ago, they're just large. That's not the truth. They go on for miles. Not right. I can't believe that. Even like New York Times said things are incredible. Position today. They have no military. They have no Navy. Like this, but they had 159 ships. Everyone's amounts of money for the community. And they're 212 when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that revenue from Google. They have no radar. They have no anti-aircraft. Eliminate nothing. All property other than they're mean. You know that, Brian? And they're smart. That's not bad, right? And they still have some capability. Thank you very much. Great job. That's a great job. 4 months ago, and you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, we don't want to give you the non-fake. Usually those are the people that actually we're going to do that, and we're going to then have like you not to the world championship. You know what? If it doesn't go to you, if it doesn't go to Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. I'll meet a man who's just about the best pitcher in baseball and just about the best hitter in baseball. American Electric Power now the best fielder in the outfield in baseball. Customers will enjoy as much as $60 billion. And cost almost for consumers thanks to their and he had 2 or 3 home runs in that game. They said it was probably $16 billion. Never seen that. The only Babe Ruth was a great pitcher, and he was in Iowa. But even the Alliant Energy data center deals, where are you make it? I would imagine about the greatest game ever played. So we're going to meet him and all of the people of the Dodgers and won the World Championship. Data center deals are allowing them to freeze electric rates for consumers baseball for at least 5 years. So your rates are going to stay the same or lower. In Louisiana, but I want to just thank everybody. To me, we're really talking about the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. To me is very important. So think of that. Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes. And you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it. That's big stuff, Mr. Governor, right? You didn't have any doubt about it. Disagree. Governor doing a great job. Your state's going to become rich. Really great governors in this very little disruption. With the Ratepayer Protection Pledge, if you don't take all that money, a fair deal for everybody. This is how we'll grow our economy, lower the cost of living. It's an honor to be with you. Protect American consumers and lead the world in AI and high tech. All at the same time, we want to lead the world. Have a good and it is said if you come in second, you're down to second overall. I'll come right back. Because there's never been anything big like this. There's never been like in Georgia. There's no other thing you can do to see numbers like you did, Brian. Both of you, there's no other thing. You can do 100 different deals. 100. It is nothing close to what you've been able to do. And why? They put a big, gorgeous new plant in a certain location. Big deal. It's so incredibly positive. Unfortunately, there are some who would like to lead us down the opposite path. And I call them the radical left communists. They call them socialists, but these people are communists. Actually, no, I think it's a much more accurate term. Want to shut down all new development, kill our most successful industries, destroy hundreds of thousands of jobs, and surrender the AI race to China. And China, look, I'm not blaming them. I have a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect for President Xi. I said absolutely. They represent China. We represent the United States of America. They lobby. They said that they do that. They spend money on it. I don't think and they want communities to reject them as much as possible because they like to be leading the race. But we're leading the race, and unless we're very foolish and frankly very stupid, we'll continue to lead the race. I want to be here. We have a nice lead. A lot of people didn't expect that was possible. You'll handle it. And perhaps even worse, the radical left plans would not lower your electricity bills, but they would actually increase them very substantially because you wouldn't have all of this money pouring in. we're here today to continue the
American energy
progress
would
we're
be
making in
far more
communities
expensive,
nationwide to
regulating
ensure
oil,
that as
natural gas,
new
and
data
clean,
centers
beautiful
go up,
coal,
and it's
it would
they're going up.
be the end of all of it.
Electricity bills
The end
for
of all of
American
it.
families will actually
Be
come
the end,
down.
frankly, it'll be end.
You know, you're going to be building your own data centers, and you're going to build
never had
building
anything
your
like
own
what's happening
electric
right
plants.
now.
You're essentially becoming a
I call them the
utility.
Democrats because their
Like Con
policies are
Edison
so
in
bad.
New York, but
Look,
maybe
think of it.
at a level that nobody's ever seen before, because we've seen some of the plants that they're building are absolutely incredible. Transgender, they want
Absolutely incredible.
transgender for
The
everybody.
electric plants,
I call it
electric
transgender
manufacturing
mutilization
plants.
of your children.
It's hard to believe,
for
but you
everybody.
need double the
Open
electricity
borders
that we
where
have
the
right
world
now,
can
maybe
pour
even
in,
more than that.
Where
To
prisons
really
from all over
fulfill
the
what you
world
want to
are
do.
released
We're
into our
leading China
country.
by a lot.
And we've done a hell of a job
And,
in getting them out. Murderers,
using our old
11,000.
grid would not have worked.
888
And I
murderers.
came up with the idea that,
Let them
build your
to
own
our
plant.
country
This way
under
nobody
the
can
previous
complain.
administration.
You will
We've got
call
a
me
lot
and say
of
what
them
a
out
terrible
terrible
job I'm
fast.
doing, because we have a
But the
200-year-old grid.
Democrats in Congress
That's,
want less energy,
not the best in the
more. And
world.
if
You
given
look
the
at some
chance,
places, you
they
take a
send
look
your
at
prices
California, you have
soaring and
brownouts
inflation
and
skyrocketing,
blackouts
which is
every
exactly
weekend. The
what
last
would
thing they're going to be able to do is
if you had somebody else sitting in the
electric
position
at
that I am right
numbers.
now. Nobody's ever
And
explained
just
to me
like we
why
did with the
why
Green New
it's so
Scam,
much where
electricity,
we were scammed. The whole
why you
country
need
was-
so
I
much,
wasn't
nor did
scammed.
I care
got
that
it
much, to
from
be
the
honest with
beginning.
you. All I know is
the
you
first
need more than
minute when
double
I
what
heard
we
this
produce
crap.
right now. Think of it.
You know?
So
They
we
were saying
produce
wind was so wonderful,
tremendous
so
amounts of
wonderful,
electricity
except for every business.
Watch your
And
television.
this
They wanted
industry
to watch
needs
the debate.
more than double that amount.
Donald Trump against Sleepy
So
Joe
we're letting
Biden.
you
Nobody could
build
watch
your
it because
own
the
with
wind
the
wasn't
Trump
blowing.
administration's
Remember that?
Ratepayer
Darling, we'd like to
Protection
watch
Plan.
the debate tonight. I'm sorry.
The
wind
American
isn't
innovators
blowing.
and consumers
No,
thrive
that's one of the great
to win
scams
together
of all
because
time.
we're
You know?
insisting
If
that
you-
AI
if you
data
dislike
centers
another
and big
country,
tech
let them
companies
keep building windmills.
pay
They
their
are
own
going
way.
down. People are
And that's
finally
what they're
figuring
doing,
it
and they're
out.
happy to do it.
But we're not going to let it happen.
Because this
to
way they're
country.
gonna
We're going to be able to
we're
function.
going to use the kind of
and
things that
function
work
brilliantly. They're going to have a lot
They're
of
working
electricity
better than
left over.
anybody
They'll
ever
put that
thought
into the
possible.
grid.
So experts
So we'll actually end up with more
observed that the
electricity.
amount
The
of
rates are going to go
energy
down as president.
society produces
I've always said that
is
America's
the single
goal must be
greatest
to dominate
indicator of
the
its
future.
advancement
And that includes
as a
being
civilization,
the number one
its success
superpower
as
in
a country.
artificial intelligence.
Think
So
of it
important.
when you think.
And this is, I think,
the
bigger
amount
than the.
of
Frankly, I think it's
energy
bigger than the
produced,
internet.
Lee. So when you give those
it's bigger
fast
than
approvals, that's a
anything
positive
anyone's
thing.
seen
I
thus
want
far.
you to
Maybe
feel
someday
good.
there'll be something
Yet
bigger than
instead
this.
of
Probably
offering
will.
a positive
But I think up
version
until this
and
point,
vision for
AI
carrying
is
American
probably the biggest thing
civilization
anybody's
to new
ever
heights,
seen.
the radical left
And
only
whoever
wants
wins
to
that
limit
race is
our
probably going to win,
energy
period.
consumption and reign
And
in
again,
our
we're leading
American
China. We
dreams.
want to keep
have
it
the
that way.
American
President
dream.
Xi's coming over on
Until
September
we came
24th.
along, first we had
And
a
we
great
talked about it when I
first
was
term.
over in
We had the
Beijing.
greatest economy in the history
And
of our
we'll be
country.
talking about
and
it
this
again.
economy will
But he was
blow
very
away.
impressed with the
We're
job
doing
we've
very
done,
well
'cause,
against
ordinarily,
the Islamic
they don't
Republic
have any problem with
of Iran.
electric. They build a lot of
doing
electric.
extremely well.
They don't do
They would
environmental
like to
impact
do something,
statements.
but I
They
say
just
they're
say,
not
"You want
ready
electric?
yet.
We'll build
They
it."
need more of the
They
same.
don't use too many windmills.
They're
They
not
make
ready
the
yet.
windmills,
They
but
got
they
some
don't use
evil
them.
intentions. We cannot let them have.
They do it the old-fashioned way.
weapon.
Anyway,
If we did
United
all this
States
that I'm talking about
never
your
settled
data
for second,
centers,
and we don't
isn't that
under this
important?
administration. I can
When
tell
they
you
start
that. You
blowing
see that
away
'cause
communities,
we have the hottest
one
country
by
right
one.
now anywhere in the world.
We
live
cannot
by
let
the motto
them
"America First."
ever
That's
even
what's
think
made us
about having
very strong.